implore you to vote no on all 16 closures.
Now on Denver 7 News at 6, families and teachers making their case to keep schools open. Plus,
our city is beautiful and we deserve the best.
Pushback on the white male finalist to be top cop in Aurora, one of America's most diverse cities. What we know about a closed-door meeting on the process last night.
the Broncos making quick roster moves now that running back Javonte Williams is out for the season. And
that's nice. That's really nice that they're that friendly.
The special health benefit this flock of chickens is giving local seniors. Oh, they look super friendly.
Yeah.
The program is amazing. That man you saw there, 97 years old, a World War II veteran. And the chickens, he says, are making a big difference in his life. So we have that story coming up.
They're really fun to watch.
Yeah, it stressed me out a little bit. Good Tuesday morning to you. I'm Brian Sanders.
And I'm Nicole Brady. Thanks for waking up with us on a Tuesday. Lisa Hidalgo here, keeping an eye on possible rain chances.
Yeah, but for the record, I like chickens too, Nicole. They don't stress me out like Brian.
Yeah, they're fun.
We have what is going to be a pretty quiet start to our early Tuesday morning. After some rain overnight, the roads might be a little damp, but you can see what's left over starting to really clear out and dissipate. We'll see some sunshine here this morning. So for the kids early on, it's going to be a cool start, light extra layer. They might want a sweatshirt, upper 40s to low 50s this morning as they're heading off to school, and then getting home to temps in the upper 60s near about 70. There will be a slight chance for a few showers, a few thunderstorms here this afternoon, but fewer showers than what we saw yesterday, so things are getting a little bit drier. Boulder 67 today, Highlands Ranch you're at 68, mid to upper 50s for the foothills. Estes Park this afternoon 58. Coming up, 10-day forecast for temperatures. We're going to be under some pretty close to normal conditions here across the state. Warmer than average just off to the west of us. I'll show you what that means and what it looks like on our Super 7 day in just a few minutes.
And right now you can see a good drive from Air Tracker 7 flying over I-70, that lowered section. We're looking from the east back over near Quebec, over towards Colorado Boulevard. There's the cap right there. That is the top. That's the tunnel that you're going under on that westbound side of I-70 eastbound. And just starting to see that traffic build up through this area. Very typical stuff for us right now. Not so typical as a rollover crash. Take a look to the north side of town. It's going to be right here at 68th and Washington. It's actually on 68th, just a little bit east of Washington Street. So that's where it's going to be. Washington is open north and southbound, so you don't have to worry about an alternate route there. 66th Avenue can get you around that rollover crash. Seeing a little bit more traffic here in those usual spots on I-76 and 270. The south side of town looks pretty good for us right now, including down and around the Denver Tech Center.
I implore you to vote no on all 16 closures and come back to the drawing table with us.
Being in a small school has also allowed me to develop close relations with my teachers, some of which I maintain contact with even today.
Well, I was disappointed.
Yeah, certainly an emotional issue. Got the kids involved, and tonight parents and their students will have another chance to plead for Jefferson County Schools to keep 16 elementary campuses open. The district admits it is not an ideal situation.
But this morning we're going in depth. Since that list was announced in August, we have heard several complaints from the community. One of them is whether or not the schools targeted for closure are poorer schools. I actually looked into that and found that on the school closure list, an average of 52% of kids at those schools are on free and reduced lunch. That's compared to 28% district-wide. That's one of the concerns parents will likely bring up tonight. Denver 7's Brandon Richard is here with some other big questions still out there.
And Nicole, parents will have an opportunity to get at least some of their questions answered tonight. As you said, the district is hosting 2 meetings tonight, including one here at Mulholm Elementary. Now, Jeffco district leaders say the purpose of the meetings tonight is to give families from those consolidating schools an opportunity to get to know each other and to build community. They say tonight's meetings are not about debating the actual school closures. They say that will take place later. But as you said, some families are upset about the schools closing. Some argue it will disproportionately impact minority students. And now Wheat Ridge city leaders joining them in opposing the closings. 3 of the schools slated to close are in Wheat Ridge. In a resolution last night, they urged the school board to vote no, and they want the district to come back with another plan. But district leaders say the closures are necessary due to declining enrollment. They say at some schools, there's only enough students to fill just one classroom per grade. And they say small schools lack resources like funding.
Our enrollment is just in a place where it continues to decline, and as we look to the future and the resources that we want to provide in our schools, consolidating, closing some schools was really the only way that we can get there.
And those two meetings, what the district calls community conversations, are set for tonight. One at Peck Elementary School starting at 5 o'clock, another at Mulholm Elementary School starting at 6 o'clock. About a dozen more are scheduled throughout the month. And district leaders say public hearings will take place in late October and early November. And they say it's at those meetings where parents and other community members can actually debate the school closures ahead of that board vote on November the 10th. We're live in Lakewood this morning. Brandon Richard, Denver 7.
Thank you, Brandon. It's not just families, but teachers who are also worried about these closures. All of those teachers will have to reapply for their jobs next year. The president of the Jeffco Teachers Union told me the uncertainty is really impacting teacher morale.
Educators will have to be, cannot just be placed. There has to be some mutual consent in there. And so I would really like to get these measures in place before the school board vote on November 10th, so that our school board members know that their educators are being taken care of, that their families are being taken care of.
Yeah, Brooke Williams also told me that she does not expect there to be any changes to that list of 16 schools. She expects the board to simply vote yes or no. And again, the board will take that vote on November 10th.
Turning now to the effects of Hurricane Ian. Sadly, we know the death toll is rising this morning. At least 103 people in Florida and North Carolina were killed in the storm. And search and rescue operations are still underway nearly a week now after it first made landfall in Florida as a powerful Category 4 hurricane.
There's more urban search and rescue teams in Florida now than in any one place in American history since September 11th.
All of this comes as President Biden plans to visit Florida tomorrow and survey the damage himself. The state of Florida has also created a disaster relief fund. So far, officials say it has raised over $21 million to help those impacted by the storm. And the state's largest utility company has pledged to get electricity restored to most homes by the end of the week. Denver 7 Gives is partnering with the Scripps Howard Fund for hurricane relief as well. You can make a donation by texting the word storm to 50155 and then following the prompts there. You can also scan the QR code you see on your screen or visit denver7.com/hurricane relief.
Yeah, of course, a lot of Coloradans can relate to what they're going through in Florida. People in Louisville who were devastated by the Marshall Fire are now getting some help rebuilding their homes. City Council unanimously passed an exemption on taxes for construction materials for those rebuilding. Nearly 600 homes in Louisville were damaged or destroyed in the Marshall Fire. We checked, and as of last week, only found 48 rebuilding permits have been issued in Louisville so far. The Broncos starting running back Javonte Williams is done for the season.
Yeah, it hurts to hear.
Tough news. Yeah, he tore the ACL and LCL in his right knee, and he'll need surgery and a long rehab. Williams took a bad hit during a handoff in the third quarter of Sunday night's loss to the Raiders. He tried to walk off the field, as we saw, just so painful, and he did end up leaving on a cart.
Similar injury to Jamal Murray with the Nuggets, and we know how long it took him to come back to the team. So the Broncos had to act fast. Obviously, their next game is coming up here in just a couple days, Thursday. So they signed running back Latavius Murray to the roster, pulling him over from the Saints, where he plays right now. He was drafted by the Raiders in 2013, so he's been in the league 9 years. He's a veteran running back, knows his stuff, 50 touchdowns in his career. So this is certainly not his first rodeo. Meanwhile, you can catch the next Broncos game against the Colts, as we mentioned, Thursday night in prime time right here on Denver 7. Kickoff will be 6:15. Our pregame coverage starts at 5, and then we'll have a special postgame show afterward again. That's all right here on Denver 7. Well, September was a busy month, right? Start of fall. Football kicked off, and of course we had the Emmy Awards as well.
A lot of things to Google during that month, and here to help us recap is Danny New. You actually talked to Google about the biggest search trends of September.
Yeah, I just love a good top 5 list, you know?
I
like you can tell your friends at work
And
later.
I want to see if I'm normal here.
Yeah,
too.
exactly.
Like,
Do I Google the same things as the entire country? Well, let's get to our first top 5 list. This is about football, which we mentioned kicked off in September. These are the most searched players going into week 1 in the beginning of the month in September. Here we go. Drum roll. Oh, look at number 2 right there.
Oh,
Our own Russell Wilson coming in.
Interesting.
And you know, if Tom Brady's number 1,
Well,
really,
yeah.
Russell Wilson's number 1, right?
Well,
that doesn't count.
Wasn't he kind of like MIA for a couple weeks?
That's
there?
true.
Yeah.
People were wondering why he was missing
was
most of the
he?
preseason and where he was going and if he was retiring for the 40th time. But yeah, Russell Wilson, still very popular, still very talked about. Thankfully, I don't have the list of the most Googled head coaches and what questions might accompany them, because people probably ask me questions about play clocks at Mile High.
Right.
Meanwhile, we said the Emmys too, which we are big fans of here because ABC has some good stuff. And these are the most Googled actors and actresses going into the awards on September 12th.
Nice.
Look at that. 2 Abbott Elementary alums, Cheryl Lee Ralph and Quinta Brunson. ABC, represent, you. And of course, you guys remember we showed it here on Denver 7 when Cheryl Lee Ralph, remember she sang her acceptance
that
speech.
was awesome,
That's like the moment of the night. And very different.
A lot of people are getting into that show now. Yeah.
I Googled the shows because I need to get caught up on
When they kept
Yeah.
winning stuff? Yeah. And since we mentioned fall began, you can probably imagine what the most searched beverage was. These are the percentages.
Oh my God.
This is how much they increased by in the last month with relation to pumpkin spice. Specifically, a 300% jump for the pumpkin spice margarita.
What?
Just as Mexico and California intended. Pumpkin spice.
Yeah.
You want a big cup of that?
What, the pumpkin spice cup noodles isn't on there. That's it.
All right, so we have some decency after all.
Yeah.
But actually, apparently, pumpkin spice also jumped when last month it was among many other phrases included on the newest additions to Webster's Dictionary.
In odd news, the Merriam-Webster Dictionary added 370 new definitions. That includes everything from shrinkflation to pumpkin spice to things like adorkable. So it's always interesting to see the ways that our language is changing.
How is adorkable not in there already?
Does it have a picture of you next to it?
Oh, Nicole,
wow.
thank you. Good idea if you're watching Merriam-Webster.
I love it.
Yeah.
But I don't know about this pumpkin spice margarita. Lisa has to have some feelings on
Should
that
be good
one.
expert on that.
I'm not a huge pumpkin spice fan, but when a margarita is attached to it, I might give it a try.
Okay.
I might. Take a look at your exercise forecast. 40s and 50s here this morning. It'll be a slow warm up, but we're going to get into the low 60s by noon. Slight chance for a few showers here later today. I'll show you what to expect for the Broncos game on Thursday coming up.
One rollover up on the north side of town. It's going to be on 68th Avenue, just a touch east of Washington. You can see it right here, mostly affecting the westbound lanes. So 66th Avenue can easily get you around at Washington Street is open.
Well, is there anything you're embarrassed to do in public that comes to, okay.
Yeah.
Or don't answer that
things, yeah.
yet. We're going to tell you the top 10 things people say they don't have the guts to do.